Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Making Me Watch Movies. My name is Making Me Watch Movies. Today I'm with Schwartz and Jake. The movie you're making me watch today is BEAU is Afraid, directed by Ari Aster, the great. What's your haiku, Schwartz?
I don't got a haiku.
Jake, what's your haiku,
Yes.
Jake?
Uncomfortable. 3 hours of nonsense and existential dread.
It makes sense.
That was, yeah.
Existential dread is a great ending to that.
You're a
You
great
got one,
writer,
Anthony?
Jake. You're a great writer.
I mean,
Thanks,
I had one, but I didn't like it.
It's fine. Get
Mark
the
at
boat.
8.
You know
BEAU
what's
is
fine?
afraid.
You know what's
I can't-
just fine?
This movie.
This movie.
Jake's beard.
Yeah.
Jake's beard's killing the game.
Better than yours.
I bring it up a little.
BEAU is
Schwartz,
Afraid.
Do you even have a mustache? Like, you can't
I
even
do.
tell. Do you? Do you? Because I can't tell because your
I trimmed
beard's
it today.
weak.
I trimmed it today.
Yeah, shit's weak, dude.
We trimmed it today.
Are we going to talk about BEAU is Afraid, or is
No.
it just too much
Yeah.
for this?
It's a lot. It's a lot going on. Ari Aster makes some good stuff. I just rewatched pretty much all of his stuff this week as well. So
Yo,
I
Midsommar,
feel
one.
super fucked up. Yeah.
number one.
Midsummer is fucking ridiculously good.
Do you want to knock out the rankings? Do you want to just focus Ari Aster for a minute?
Yeah, Midsommar, number one.
It's my number one. What do you got number 2 spot?
Hereditary.
Okay. So
Uh,
obviously 3 spots,
number-
BEAU.
no, number 3 is his short where his son fucks his dad.
That was great. That was his shorts are super fucking weird. I just watched a couple of them as well, including BEAU.
And then number 4 is
Schwartz.
BEAU
What
is
about you?
Afraid.
What? Okay, BEAU's okay. That's fair. That's pretty fair.
I'm gonna go.
Schwartz, how do you rank his
I'm gonna
features?
go Midsummer number 1, of course. I'm gonna go BEAU number 2, and I'm gonna go Hereditary number 3.
Ooh, wow, Hereditary number 3 is surprising.
I think this movie as weird, as in your face, as gross, as shocking, as distant, or however you want to say it is. It's highly entertaining, and it's filmmaking at a pretty high level. Like,
Fair enough.
Even
Jake,
just
do you
thinking
have a
about, like-
ranking?
Yeah. Schwartz, before your rants, I rank.
No, shut up.
I gotta say,
We're doing a
most of
thing.
my most of the time, I usually would have ranked Midsummer number 1. I feel like initially I liked that one the most, but I also feel like it's probably because it's like the most straightforward and maybe it on a first watch it's like the most digestible. But over time, I feel like Hereditary has really grown on me because I know when I first watched Hereditary,
All right, Jesus.
I
didn't know
liked
you
it,
were
but I
gonna
was
go
super- I
into
was-
a fucking rant too.
I was super uncomfortable, and it was just that, yeah, it was. I didn't know what to expect out of that movie, so it was super weird. But Hereditary has really grown on me.
What's your
It's like,
ranking,
I go-
dude?
Hereditary number 1, Midsommar number 2, BEAU is Afraid number 3.
All
When
right.
I walked out of BEAU is Afraid, the first words I said were, "I might have hated that," or "I think I hated that." It was one of those two things, and it took me a while to like get over that. It's grown on me the more I think about it and I watch it again. I liked
George,
it more, but it's
First
fucking-
impressions on the movie when his boat exploded and it said directed by Ari Aster. What was
I
your
mean-
like initial thoughts?
I mean, that whole scene was insane. I wasn't quite sure where any of that was going, and by that time, you're kind of just like, "Holy shit! How much longer is there of this? What else can this guy go through?" I mean, the previous 20 minutes between him and his mom and the shit with Parker Posey was amazing. That Mariah Carey cue was pretty great.
Yeah.
Oh,
She
right,
re-
Chris, that was
wait,
funny.
I didn't appreciate it until she restarted it.
Yeah, she goes,
That's-
"Let's restart it."
That helped the humor for sure.
That's pretty good.
Ari
got
Aster
it
went like
timed out.
this. Hold on. I don't
The-
think you know what we're listening to. Hang on, let me say it again.
I actually had read the screenplay before the movie came out just to see if it was going to be close to it. So I knew the ending, but I wasn't sure if he was going to end up doing it like that because I mean, let's be honest. Like, as much as you want to dive into this movie as what it could mean or what it does mean or what you think it means, there's really no. I don't really think is even that deep. After listening to things that he said and it's kind of just like he wants to put you on a ride to where you're never quite sure what's happening, but you shouldn't really dive into it either. You should just take the ride. You know what I mean? And I think that's cool.
You think that's cool, but that's
I do.
most movies.
No, I mean most movies have a lot of
most movies I like are just take the ride, and you hate them.
No, not at all. Like most movies have a lot more structure than this movie. This movie's just kind of about being in the mind of someone who's crazy, someone who's not normal. That's what this movie is. It doesn't even really.
But don't you know what I'm saying? Is like, if like any lesser director said that, wouldn't you kind of scoff at them? They're like, yeah,
No.
this doesn't really have a story. I'm just trying to. I mean, would you say this was more spectacle than fucking Nope?
More spectacle than Nope. I mean, I guess it's in its own way. It's just as much of a spectacle. I mean, the whole scene in the woods and the animation scene was pretty great. That was pretty spectacle for spectacle's sake. But I mean, it's different than Nope. Nope is a horror movie, adventure kind of movie. This is a dark comedy. Like, so I laughed out loud a lot, especially in the first 45 minutes. I laughed out loud a lot, and it was mostly at the background actors and the shit that he was thinking about that could happen. And then it would just like, after you see him freak out, it would pan to like, oh, there's a brown recluse loose in your fucking house too, or in your building too. Watch out. Like I literally laughed out loud.
That who did that end up because he was like fighting someone and that ended up crawling on their face.
It was that got in. It was like above his bathtub when he was taking the bath. It was that homeless guy that kept saying, "Help me, help me, help me, help me." He was up there in like that little.
Was that
cubby.
Bill Hader?
That wasn't Bill Hader. Bill Hader was the UPS guy that told him about his mom dying.
Oh yeah. Oh, I remember that. The guy on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
That was a lame cameo.
It was a funny cameo.
Do better.
But that whole opening thing of him in the city in the apartment, there's like
first 30 minutes are great.
The details are so unreal, like all the writing on the walls, all the just the details and every little thing going on. Like Ari Aster is so good at that. Just all the background activity happening.
There's a butt finger poster.
Yeah, there was one part I noticed in the very beginning, which is funny because I noticed this is another Ari Aster thing where he almost shows you the end of the movie at the beginning of the movie in like some sort of imagery, because after he leaves his psychologist's office, like he goes into the chaotic streets. There's a boy playing with the remote control boat in like a little pond thing, and the mother is off screen and yells from like, "Hey, get over here!" And then he runs away, and then the boat flips over as the kid runs away. And I thought that was just a little funny, like, look forward.
Dude. I remember that, and I never put that together. But I remember that scene because it was weird. It was like the boat just flipped because it just weirdly flipped over.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, I feel like I put this in the same category as like Fear and Loathing or After Hours, or even like in so many ways, kind of like True Romance, to where you're just kind of taking a ride and you're putting to take it into these characters' lives. This is just if the person was fucking insane and you're not. Because I don't even know if any of this movie even really happened. You know what I mean? At any point in this movie, it's all could just be in his head. Like, obviously, like at a certain point, like
that would have been the early '90s way to end this movie.
I think what I took it as is that it's the perspective of BEAU's mind, that the way he filters the reality around him. Like we're definitely happening, this, but the interpretation of this is all in BEAU's head. Is his drug-addled, anxiety-ridden head. It's
the one thing I kept noticing is he was the only one freaking out. And like people on the street weren't freaking out. He was the one. He was the one freaking out. There was weird shit going on, but like the other people walking around were just walking around, which made me think this is all just BEAU's mind. Kind of reminded me of the beginning of what's the zombie movie? not World War Z. Shaun of the Dead.
Days?
No, Shaun of the Dead. Remember the Shaun at the beginning of Shaun of the Dead where he's just walking around and random shit's going on, except he didn't notice it and BEAU noticed everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good comparison. Yeah, there's
thanks, man. I work on my comparisons.
I also think that like his mom was the worst.
You guys aren't into
world.
Jokes today, huh?
You know what I mean? I mean, it's obvious to say, but she was just the fucking worst. That whole conversation he has with her, but when he has to tell her his keys are missing, is absolutely amazing. You just feel for him in that moment.
Oh yeah.
Is she the
He's-
worst or is he the worst?
I mean, I think he's the worst because she's the worst. I
Yeah,
mean,
like who's the antagonist in this film? Is it BEAU? Is it
Beau's mind.
It's BEAU's
Yeah.
mind, yeah. Or is it his mother? Or is it the interpretation that we see of his mother within his own head? That's another thought I had. Like it seems like his mother's a terrible person, but is it really just his mind seeing his mother in
Bo's
that
fucking
way?
himself.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is this though, like what makes you guys not like this movie? You just didn't care about the things that he did, or you
I didn't
just
give a
weren't interested?
I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was a well-crafted movie. I thought it could be an enjoyable movie, but I didn't enjoy a single moment of it. I didn't. I think that was it. I didn't care what he was doing. The beginning was fun. Oh, I locked my keys in the door, and that was his whole thing. I think I listened to an interview with him, and he was just like, I wanted to write a story about if a guy locked his keys in a door and then a bunch of people got into his apartment. I think if that was what it was all about, that was fun. That was the fun part. That was the thought out part, and then the made up part came after that. And I just didn't care for any of it. Once he got back to his apartment and then he started like on his mission, I was just once he called it, like after the first phone call with his mom, I wasn't out of it, but I was not. I just didn't enjoy any of it. Not a single part. I was just like, well, that was a cool part of this movie. Not a single part. Not the animated part. Not the fucking end. Not the trial. None of it. I was just like looking at the clock the whole time.
Damn.
That's definitely
crazy.
how I thought.
And I don't think it's because it's like super complicated. I don't think it's because it's super deep. Because like you said, I don't think it is super deep. But it just didn't grab me at all.
I was definitely very uncomfortable most of the first time through. I guess I didn't really know what to expect out of this movie. I certainly didn't expect what we got out of it, of this just wild perspective of a life. I was expecting more of like a Hereditary, more of like some sort of like horror vibe a little bit, where it had that horror uncomfortable elements, but it was definitely still a weird comedy at its core. But
Definitely a comedy.
where I didn't
Definitely
like it is
a comedy, but I wasn't
Yeah.
laughing, and again, like
I laughed
wasn't,
a
like,
lot.
I wasn't like
I was definitely laughing.
in the beginning.
laughed a
In the
lot.
beginning, I laughed. In the beginning, I laughed a lot.
The beginning, I
The
was
funniest
into.
part of the movie is the end when the mother points at the picture of her mother on the wall. That's the funniest part in the whole fucking movie. The picture is absolutely terrifying.
Like
See, I kind of hated the ending.
like oh, look at this. Like that's
Yeah.
if that was the funniest part, then this movie fucking sucked.
It was
mean,
like it was cartoonish in so many ways too. So which can be a
100%.
good.
It
and
reminded me a
bad.
lot of it reminded me a lot of Idiocracy now that I think about it.
Yeah, I can see that too. Yeah, just the absurdity of the characters.
Idiocracy mixed with Truman Show. It's like this was.
Yeah,
It's like a Truman Show. If everyone, not only is everyone like acting around him, but everyone's actively trying to fuck with him.
Yeah,
Well, it's all in his head. He's a mess. His mom fucked him up and now he's on pills. That's what the movie is. It's in his head. And I get that for some
Right.
people it's not enough. I totally get that. But what I like about it is that even though you might not think it's enough, it's still so fucking entertaining, at least to me. Like the
I think entertaining.
the originality
I would use
the originality of it. You know what I mean? Like just to make a movie all in, you double down on it. It's like I said, it's kind of like Fear and Loathing or you guys ever see After Hours? That Scorsese movie with Griffin
yeah.
Dunn?
I just watched that. I watched it a while ago, and then I just watched
Kinda like
it
that.
actually yesterday because I kept
Scorsese
hearing
loves this
comparisons to it. And yeah, I know. I kept hearing Ari Aster
I mean,
comparing.
dude, this dude's a great filmmaker.
After Hours to this.
He's a great filmmaker. I just didn't like this movie. And you know what? We have one of the craziest lightning storms going on right now. You know what I come to realize after this movie is I don't know if I'm right. I don't know if I even agree with this, but I don't give a fuck about directors. I give a fuck about movies. Like directors fuck up. It's like watching a fighter until he sucks. Like directors suck. They just make a few good movies every now and then. So I don't care about directors anymore. I'm not going to be like, oh, I love this movie because, or I'm going to love this movie because, or you should love this movie because. I think I've come to realize, and again, maybe I'm wrong, that I'm just into movies and not directors. And this movie did not get me. Whereas his other movies absolutely do. Like Brian Johnson.
I mean, speaking to what
Brian
you just said,
Johnson.
is like Tarantino says that he's like, the reason why he's only going to make 10 movies because he doesn't want to outstay his welcome.
But
You know what
also,
mean?
I don't
He doesn't want to make shitty shit.
Yeah,
but also
he's right. But I like everything he's made so far, basically unconditionally. And Ari Aster's only made 3 movies.
Yeah,
Man,
they're all
number
pretty
3 is
fucking
a
quality
stinger,
though.
dude.
I do think that it definitely isn't for everybody. Obviously, like that's the obvious thing. But when you take into account like the performance too, the performance is pretty fucking great, man. Like he's a fucking mess.
All of the performances.
Nathan Lane was amazing. Nathan Lane.
Parker
made me laugh
Posey
a lot
was
a few
great.
times, too.
Nathan Lane was great. Nathan Lane's wife was amazing. Nathan Lane's daughter was the best.
Oh, dude, when she drank that paint, I almost fucking cried. I laughed so hard.
That was very uncomfortable. I keep saying the word uncomfortable with that. It was a very uncomfortable scene.
Was.
Yeah.
Everything with her was uncomfortable.
There was a lot of good to this movie for sure. Don't get me wrong, but I don't really think too poorly of it. But it definitely didn't stick the landing. But there was a lot of greatness to it. Like visually, it was fucking insane. Like I watched this movie.
I just didn't enjoy. I didn't enjoy anything after 30 minutes, except for that girl killing herself.
Fair, like I mean, even like the Nathan Lane and that whole the suburb scene was fun because those characters I think helped keep that going.
But it was just like the whole time I was just like, what the fuck? What is the point of any of this? And I don't think the director had a point in any of it, and that's why I don't give a fuck about it.
I don't think he does.
That's why I don't give a fuck about it. I don't give a fuck about this ride. This ride sucked. It was a long, shitty ride that had good elements to it. It's like if I was on fucking the what's the ride at Disneyland? Everyone sucks. It's a Small World. And they were like, it's a small world after all. Then you go and it's like Chinese people singing It's a Small World, but like Jackie Chan's there. And you're like, oh shit, like fuck, like, this ride sucks, but Jackie Chan's singing. That's cool. And then the next one, it's a white guy and Joaquin Phoenix is singing. You're like, man, I didn't know he could sing with that thing on his lip. And it's like, it's cool, but I'm not enjoying what I'm doing here.
What the fuck
I'm gonna tell you right now that I do not understand the analogy you just made.
You got so
with
lost,
Small
bro.
World ride and then Jackie Chan.
I'm just saying.
What are you talking about?
For real.
It's a shitty ride.
What are you saying?
It's a shitty ride with decent elements along the way, but at the end you're gonna be like, that ride fucking sucked.
I do not agree with you because I did not think it sucked. I think the second time I saw it,
I got you. That makes sense.
I don't care what you agree with. I'm just telling you my opinion.
I think it helped seeing it for me a second time because I was able to kind of turn off my head and take that ride, but it still got to a point where I'm like, I hated the ending. Like I think once he came, he should have died and it should have been over. That should have been it.
Okay, hold on.
The giant CGI dick was pretty amazing.
I don't even fuck about it.
I was out at that point. I was out of it. I was just like,
it was lame.
What the fuck
the best
is this?
dicks I've ever seen is super bad. You can't beat those dicks.
Yeah. To me,
Dick
it was
chest.
too much of a joke at that point.
It was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lunchbox dick treasure chest. I take back the first thing or the 30 minutes thing because when Parker Posey died, spoiler, that's probably the best part of the movie. That was the best.
That was
part
the crazy part
when he went, because the whole movie is, we haven't talked about it at all, but the whole movie is this guy can't come or he'll die. That's basically what the movie is. And
it's a guy who's going through life being crazy. His mind is fucked. Everything about his mind is just it's not right. Nothing is real. You know what I mean? You realize
sure, but like one of his main things is if he comes, he dies.
Yeah, because that's what his mother told him happened to his father and his grandfather too.
Just imagine that.
So when he fucks for the first time, he doesn't die, but she does. Supposedly, apparently by the exact same thing. He was afraid of, I don't know. That whole part though, because the whole movie builds up to that. That's at the end of the movie. That's 3 hours in. Whole movie builds up to him coming.
There's still like a half hour left after that.
Okay, it's 2.5
So-
hours in.
So hold on. Let's at least go. I got something I want to say about the beginning. So what I didn't notice about the very opening scene with the birthing scene, what I didn't notice in the first time around that I did notice second time around is, did they drop him? Does the mom say, "Did you drop my baby?" And then she says,
Oh,
"Why is he not
She said-
crying?"
Yeah.
So is that the reason why he's so fucking crazy?
There's a lot of
Like,
reasons. There's a lot of
but, like,
reasons.
is that
Well,
the
he would-
number uno reason or what?
that
was
might
the
have
first
been
reason,
the
for
starter,
sure.
but
I guess the second
Depends
reason
on
is
what-
his mom.
It depends on what
Yeah.
substances his mom did while she was pregnant.
he was like he was on a campaign of pharmaceuticals as a kid. Like he grew up like
Yeah.
on crazy drugs and told crazy lies. Like he's
Yeah.
fucked. And he never came. Imagine never
Never
coming. Ever.
I mean, the giant
That's
how
balls.
number
was
one.
pretty
insane would
great.
you feel?
The giant balls was hilarious. It's almost South Park like.
And that's only a
was-
fraction of what we know. Imagine the crazy shit this crazy woman has told this poor kid. Like we
Yeah.
don't know much about, but like we never learn what he does. It's a very like shallow character at its surface because we're only experiencing it in this like few day glimpse from his perspective. We don't fucking know much other than his like
Yeah.
weird little flashback. So who knows?
She's
what's
Mrs.
going on in this
Voorhees,
guy's
dude.
head.
She's
Yeah.
she's worse than Jason's dad, mom.
So one thing I noticed in the opening scene, which is him going to his shrink's office, is the light socket behind him is horizontal. And that made me think this is all a dream. I think that was the first sign that he's trying to show you that this isn't real. And I think that's
I think that's irrelevant
because it's in
no?
plain sight.
Is that is
I don't
it
think
all
that's
a
irrelevant
dream?
at all.
Like I think that's got to be irrelevant. That's
Well,
been like I
that is
said,
what
that's
I'm
been
trying to say.
irrelevant since like the 90s. Oh, it's all a dream. Like that's
Well, not a dream, but this is all in his head. Like none of this is to be taken like serious. You know what I mean? This is all an elevated reality. Like nothing you're about to see
It's still
is-
happening.
Could be real.
so
It's
we're
just
watching.
I don't know,
So
though.
we're watching the
Distorted,
Joker
I think.
again.
Is it
Yes.
happening? Is it happening? Who knows?
I'm so
I
over
I
watching
think it's
Phoenix
happening,
being
yeah.
weird. You know what I wish? I wish it was a Culkin. I wish it was a Culkin instead of. I wish it was the guy from. I wish it was not Rory. Kieran.
Oh yeah,
Kieran Culkin.
Kieran's so good in
Kieran
this.
Culkin would have been great. And it wouldn't have been this fucking guy who we've seen be weird, who we know wants to be weird, who does weird shit just to be weird. And I'm just over it. I'm over it since he did the weird movie with Affleck's brother. Other Affleck.
For sure. Oh yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah. He's
Amazing.
still
That was
here.
great though.
We get it. Oh,
Yeah.
give me one
I mean,
more. Do the Joker. Do the Joker.
The
and
master
this
was the
time.
best. The master was the best.
Master
That
was
his
good,
best
but again,
performance.
this is him in the master, but with less masturbation.
Yeah, I think I also jokingly said after this movie, I said Joker did it better. Just exploring that like the
It
mental
was like
health
if
thing,
Joker
it's like-
meets the
like,
master,
it's more entertaining.
Joker meets the master, and no
Yeah.
jerking off.
No jerking
Okay.
off.
Plus Parker Posey. You guys ever see Best in Show?
Yes,
It's probably my favorite Parker Posey role.
she's great in that.
I'll watch more of that dude's movies, but I know I've seen it.
You've never seen Christopher Guest movies?
I need to watch them more often.
You don't like Christopher Guest?
I've seen them, but only like usually like I don't know which ones. I've
This is
You
You know
Spinal
who he's
Tap,
married to?
seen a couple.
A Mighty Wind.
You know who his wife
I don't
is?
think I've seen Mighty Wind. Is
I
it
know who his
Catherine
wife is.
O'Hara?
Do you know
No,
who his
his
wife is?
is
It should be
fucking-
Catherine O'Hara. That'd be sick.
no, it's the
it's
chick who
Three
just won the
Billboards.
Oscar. No, the chick who just won the Oscar.
It's not Three Billboards. Oh, it's
Julia-
no,
Jamie Lee
it's-
Curtis.
She's married
Yeah,
to
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Cohen.
Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah,
Damn,
Yeah,
who do I
and
know?
Joe
I know
Cohen.
someone. I know
Cohen.
someone that
More
knows
Cohen.
someone
Just
that's
married
friends
to-
with Jamie Lee
Christopher Guest.
Curtis
Oh,
and was at Jamie Lee Curtis's hand in the cement in the Hollywood situation. Not hands, but the star, Hollywood
Alright.
star. Damn, who was that? Shout out to whoever that was. Hit me up.
All right. Anyway, back to the movie. Another thing I really liked about the beginning before he leaves his apartment with the keys is the picture of his dad, how it's all blurred out. I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought that was kind of cool. Never seen that before. And it kind of tells you right there that
That's your daddy.
the chaos of it all, you know what I mean? It's just chaos. This movie is chaos. And the thing is that like that's all it is. There's nothing else it is. It's just absolute what's gonna happen next chaos, which is I guess for you guys not good. You
No,
guys hate that shit.
no, I don't, because I loved Apocalypse Now. That's basically what Apocalypse Now is.
No, Apocalypse Now is not chaos all the time. That shit's fucking
Uh,
slow moving dialogue with
Apocalypse Now is pretty
with-
chaotic. Charlie Don't Surf, dude.
yeah, sure. It's got scenes that last for 6 to 7 minutes. That's chaotic. They're spread around a 3-hour
It's
movie.
about a
yeah.
guy who's on a journey and he's experiencing crazy shit.
Yes, that's true, but it's less chaotic. This is absolutely always on at 10.
I think
10,
war is a
zero-
little
you go
more
0 to 10, it's
chaotic
like 10 all times.
than a homeless guy freaking out.
I mean, War and Saving Private Ryan is more chaotic the way they depicted in that. 100%. That was
You ever
nonstop
see
too.
Apocalypse Now?
I've seen Apocalypse Now.
You ever see
Many
Redux?
times.
That's the
Yeah,
one.
I own it.
That's the one, dude.
That was pretty crazy.
I've seen it.
That's the one,
Seen it.
dude. The French scene.
Oh God, you
I
don't
could
even know
see
anything
why
about
they
the
cut it
French
out.
scene.
I don't know any. Why would I even bring up the French scene if I don't know anything about the French scene?
In Hearts of Darkness, the audio they have of him talking about that is amazing. He's like, I hated that scene. I hated everything about it. We're gonna pretend like it doesn't exist. This is basically just what he tells everybody.
You don't know anything about Heart of Darkness.
Anyway. All right, so do we go through the whole thing real quick? Because it's not that long, I guess, if you break it down.
No, it's
If you
not.
break
It's
it down, it's like
4 parts.
4 parts, yeah.
It's your movie, dude. Hit it.
All right, so like we were talking about, we opened up with him going to his therapist's office, and they talk about his and how it's his dad's death of his dad's anniversary and his mom. And then you come to realize that his mom and him don't have a very good relationship. She calls him, he lets it go to voicemail, and the doctor just keeps poking at him and poking at him and poking at him. Finally, cut to he gives him a new prescription for
Cool
whatever
new
the fuck
drug.
kind of pills it was.
Yeah.
Cool new drug, yeah, he says. So this guy's
Must
just like a
take with
cocktail.
water.
He's a little monkey, like a monkey in a fucking lab that people just put drugs into and fucking see what happens.
That's what
like that was
anyone
the
that
point,
goes
yeah.
to a psychiatrist does.
I don't know about that, but
It is.
But-
That's what you do. Nobody knows like, oh, this drug's gonna fix you. No, it's just like, let's try this one. That's what like trying.
I mean, a guy like him though,
psychopharmaceuticals
that's
is.
probably diagnosed with split personality disorder, or
all right. Now
some
you're just
sort of
making
fucking-
assumptions, but that's fine.
I mean, dude, this guy's not normal in any way. Like, there's nothing normal about this guy. If you looked at
Well,
this guy in the street, you'd be like, yeah, that guy's weird as fuck. Like, you just looking
So
at
you're
him.
assuming that they're just using him as a lab rat or what?
No, I'm saying he's definitely got a lot wrong with him in that, like,
It's
more than the
implied,
average,
though.
more than the average person, he would be given pills that he would try out. You know what I mean?
And there's also that
More than
shit
just like if you went
later
to fucking, or if I went.
that shows him like, and all those like as a kid, all those pharmaceutical ads, like
Yeah, that's true.
all throughout his parent or his mom's house. That sort
She
of
owned that shit,
implied
yeah.
that
that
he
was her
doing all
company. That
shit.
was her like
Yeah.
logo that we kept seeing randomly throughout the thing, which was I thought
Yeah.
was weird until the end. I still thought it was weird, but I didn't really understand what that was. But that was just her logo, which kind of leads to what Schwartz was saying, is that it was all just made up, and he's just seeing the same shit everywhere.
Yeah, he's just in his head. But anyway, so he goes home, and what do you see first when he's walking? He comes running. Oh, he goes to the pharmacy, gets his pills, and doesn't something happen to him in the pharmacy?
I mean, the whole beginning is great, and the whole beginning is the best part, is where he locks his key in the door, and then he's got to drink his thing with water. He's out of water, and now in his apartment is out of everything that could possibly go wrong is going wrong, to the point where has to now leave his one safety net, which is his apartment, locked up, and he
Yeah.
has to leave it open. He has to leave. Oh, his keys were stolen, so he his mom. He was gonna call his mom. He's supposed to go to his mom's. Whatever it was, she's not dead yet. So why is he visiting?
No,
Just
he
to
was his
visit?
death. It was the anniversary of his
death
father's death,
anniversary.
and he was going to go visit her.
Oh yeah, what a great day.
So
could make
then-
a trip out of that.
Then he ends up. You guys to find out his mom ends up dying by a chandelier falling on her head and decapitating her, and he has to go to her funeral. And that was a great scene. That's one of the best scenes in the movie. The way that he reacts to that, and the phone call with Bill Hader is great. Like, he's like, maybe you missed dial, call back, and he calls back. He's like, I'm sorry, dude.
That was
Like,
funny.
that was hilarious. That was pretty
Those
funny.
scenes were really good because both phone calls were just one takes that were either slowly pushing in or slightly pulling. I think when he was on the phone with his mom at first, it was just slowly pushing in the whole time.
And it gets real
It was
close
just
at
one
the end.
take, and it was just like right
Yeah.
up under him. And then I
Yeah.
think it was the reverse of the phone call he had with the UPS guy.
Yeah, I
Pulled
think
back
so.
until he was like in a wide of the room.
And he
I feel
does
like
a lot of
there's a
those jump
weird.
cuts,
I
those
feel
time
like
cuts.
it goes back and forth a couple times in a weird fashion, because I think I remember in the beginning of one call it going backwards, and then like and then like it cut to something else, and then it either cut to like the same angle of going backwards, so where like it was like, well, this is obviously another take. There was some weird situation in the takes, or it was going back forwards to where I was like, that doesn't really work, because just before it was going backwards, now it's going forwards.
Right, and maybe they did that like on purpose, just to like fuck with perspective or something.
Maybe he's like, I saw
mind tricks.
Kubrick accidentally moved a chair once. Maybe I do like weird things with the camera.
I mean, he does do pretty cool things.
Maybe
with
I
the
don't
camera.
like Ari
directors.
Aster, dude.
Definitely had.
You
He
hate
definitely
directors.
had a
Maybe
long.
I like
some long,
movies
cool
and not
shots.
directors, dude. I like songs and not musicians.
Is it
All right, so
subvert expectations? Maybe is that it? Is that maybe you don't want to go in with expectations?
I obviously don't know what
it?
ensconced means.
I'd say ensconced.
ensconced?
What is that from,
What
though?
does that mean?
You know what it's from? Come on.
That sounds familiar. I don't remember what it's from.
Dear Podrick, I am ensconced in the love of London, blah, 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 or whatever. And his response, he was like, well, Siobhan, I think her name was. I obviously don't know what ensconced mean, but me and Jenny are happy. Is that my favorite movie of last year?
Oh, you're talking about Banshees of Inisherin.
Banshees of Inisherin is probably the best movie I've ever seen ever, maybe.
It's a good one.
It's a great movie. Martin McDonagh is pretty great.
Obviously, I don't know what ensconced means. That's how he started the letter. It was great. Anyway, continue. Beau is leaving his apartment now. I don't know. This movie's boring.
So he finds out his mom died. She got her head off by the chandelier. He freaks out. Decides to.
Well, what happens was he needs to get water. He needs to take his pill. That's when he goes across the street to go get the water.
We already did that.
I know, we kind of did. He went to go get the water. Then when he went back to his, that's when the whole that's when all the people went.
Everybody went in his house.
Eventually he goes back in. Eventually he gets back in.
That's one of my favorite scenes, though, is when he's across the street and he's trying to buy the water, and his car keeps getting declined, and he keeps looking across the street, knowing that he has to buy this water, but also he sees all these fucking psychos. There's a homeless guy stabbing people. There's like a cats guy. There's like a crazy tattoo guy. There's a naked guy. And they're all now just filing into his apartment that he has to get this water because he has to take his medication, but he also has to get back into his pint. It is one of the most, at that point, this is like 10, 15, 20 minutes in. Jillian looks at me and she's like, this is the most stressful thing I've ever seen in my life. I was like, bitch, you got 3 hours left of this. I hope
Jillian saw it, huh?
Yeah, we went and saw it together.
What did she think?
She hated it. Absolutely hated it. I think she hated it more than I did.
Yeah, I can see that.
I tried to appreciate it, but it was hard.
So sorry, I feel like I diverted back further too, unfortunately too much. So the reason he ends up leaving is because the dude, he was taking a bath and then the dude fell onto him.
Yeah, he was on the fucking ceiling.
And then he runs outside and then the other naked stabber guy, birthday boy stabber man or something,
stabs him. Stabs him. Yeah.
But yeah, stabs him, and then he gets hit by the car, which is
Amy Ryan and his car.
Nathan Lane and Amy Ryan. And Amy so Ryan. That's kind of like a cut to black moment. She's the mom, the woman married.
Yeah, I know who she is, but like,
she's from The
Office.
She was like Michael Scott's girlfriend for a while. She was also in Gone Baby Gone.
She was the mom.
All right.
I mean, that could be it.
More a flex.
So yeah. So this dude, she gets hit by a car. And you also see his giant balls again, which is absolutely hilarious. Just that was
pretty funny too, because it was such a flash that I was like, I know we saw his balls, but Were they huge? Like,
You said that?
Like, why were his balls giant? Like, what was they? Because it was just a flash of his balls. Was it when he got hit by the car that we just see him?
That was
Yeah.
one of the times. Yeah, we see his balls.
And then we see his balls when he's banging Parker
Yeah.
Pose.
Yeah. Yep.
But like the first
So
time,
he gets hit
it
by
was a
the-
surprise.
He gets hit by the car.
It.
He gets hit by the
Yeah.
Well, I think it's meant to be like very humorous. Like he's just got filled up because he's never jerked off before.
laughed.
He's never fucking.
I don't think that's how it
said
works.
anything.
but-
No shit, but in his mind, that's how it worked. It's always in his mind.
Works in a cartoon world.
This
Seems
movie
like that's what would
sucked, dude.
happen.
Anyway, so they bring him home, and you come to like this is such a crazy way to this whole thing is crazy. So basically, Nathan Lane and Amy Ryan play the parents of a dude who was killed by one of his fellow friends in the line of fire because the guy was crazy and shot up all his friendly fire at everybody, and their son was one of them. And now they're fucking taking care of this dude, and you come to see that like they're totally unhinged people who are super religious who are just fucking not all there.
Now,
And they're all on
pause.
pills. They're all super on pills. Everybody's taking pills. What's up?
Should we reference his short Munchausen?
I mean, we could.
Because that
Oh,
was
yeah.
what
Did you
was
watch
going
the
on
short?
here.
Did you guys watch the short Beau? Did you watch the Beau short?
The
which
Beau
is
is
based on?
basically
I
just
watched
the
all
apartment.
the shorts with you, Schwartz. So
Yeah.
whatever
Did
you
you?
made me watch. I remember watching
Munchausen was good. Munchausen was a good one. I think Munchausen was the first one I watched.
Yeah, that
And
was
fuck,
good.
that was a wacky one. But yeah, that was, you're right. I didn't really think about that. That's probably what was going on.
I
here.
mean, they were just fucking. They were just trying to keep him
yeah, keep it on.
sick, to
Their
keep
patient.
him under
Yeah.
their spell, essentially.
Kept
Yeah,
coming up
which
with
the other
reasons
guy
not to
was.
take him away and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just kept. And he was a surgeon, right? So he was probably writing
Yeah.
scripts for everyone.
Had like a tracker on him and shit.
And the daughter Tony, who's just had like two
Insane.
pill boxes, just constantly like popcorn, popping
Don't
pills.
mix those, dear.
I like her.
I like when they call her like an asshole or a jerk. She's like, "What a fucking
Yeah.
jerk."
Nathan Lane's so funny because he's just
He's
always
so
like,
good.
"What up, my dude? We're gonna get you there tomorrow, bud."
name 3 Nathan Lane movies he's not hilarious in.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Can't do it.
Can't do it,
I
dude.
don't think it's possible.
He's
Birdcage.
great.
Nope.
He's always great.
Lion
He's always
King.
great.
Birdcage is probably his best. He's great in that movie.
Even when he was in Curb Your Enthusiasm, he's like kind of like a dick the whole time. He's like
Mouse Hunt?
Larry David's nemesis.
Mouse Hut. All right, maybe there's one.
Yeah.
No, that's a good movie.
That's a
He's
bad movie.
great.
There's no way you could even tell me the premise of that movie other than 2 guys looking for a mouse.
That's what the premise is. The mouse is trying to get them not to be in the house. He's trying to like it's like Home Alone with a mouse.
Yeah, but why do they want the house?
because there's something in it. There's like they're
they want the
looking for
house because
something.
there's
I
something
think
in
a
it, and there's a
treasure.
mouse that doesn't want them to have it. That's, I mean, you could just guess that.
it's
based
a
on
really
the
fun
poster.
movie though.
Is it?
Movie.
It's a fun game. Have you played the game?
Yes. Yeah, of course.
That's a
Mouse
good
Trap.
game. Yeah, what did I say? Mouse Hunt?
Yeah, Mouse Trap.
Whatever, Mike.
Yeah,
Let's do
like an
this.
idiot.
Can I point out something super random?
If you must.
So far,
I'd rather
Home
you not.
Alone's been mentioned. No, it's great. Home Alone's been mentioned. After Hours has been mentioned, and a Culkin has been mentioned on this podcast. Both of the parents in Home Alone are in After Hours.
And
Mine's blown.
one of the parents is married to Christopher Guest.
No, that was
No,
my
that's
guess of
not
who I
true.
thought
Oh, yeah,
it
that's
was. Oh, yeah, I
right.
already
Well,
mentioned
you know.
Catherine O'Hara. And I mentioned Catherine O'Hara earlier. I just
She's
had
not
to
married
tell
to
you guys.
Christopher Guest. That's Jamie Lee Curtis.
Cinematic universe.
They probably bang.
Especially once we're well,
I like to think Catherine
What's wrong,
O'Hara
Cameron?
and Christopher Guest. I like to put them in the same room. You know,
it
in my
it
mind.
makes sense.
It makes sense.
Hey,
She's
All
in
right,
like
so-
all of his movies, right?
So basically, he gets held hostage by these people, and they keep feeding him pills. And then the daughter fucks with him, where she tells him,
Well,
She
let's
tells him
not
that,
let
another
us
thing
not
we-
forget he's living in the daughter's room. Now, you already mentioned that they had a son who was murdered by their friend, who they make live in a
RV in
airstream
the
out
backyard,
front
yeah.
or out back. And then, so, and not only that, so obviously they have a vacant room where their dead son used to reside. But that's not where they put Beau after they hit him with the RV. They put him in Tony's room, their daughter, who is not really happy about that. That's pretty important.
Well, she's just as fucked up as everybody else, and it shows pretty quick.
But they like the way they treat her is bad.
Oh yeah, terrible.
bad
She's.
people.
I'm not saying it's her
Generally
fault.
happy.
I'm not saying it's her fault, but she's definitely fucked up. Having parents like that make anything fucked up. It's like that's the whole theme of this movie. I think is just shitty parents passing down shitty things to people.
Now, after watching this movie, did you guys go and like pop some pills?
Did I what?
Go pop some pills? You know, did this movie like when you watch a movie with
No.
someone like smoking a cigarette, or like when you watch Pineapple Express, you're like, man, I gotta smoke some weed after this movie. Was this like, did you guys go
No.
like, I want to go take some fucking oxys?
Yeah, I
Right.
was going to hope I saw the fucking.
Not even
Stagman's dick
oxys.
come
This
in
would be
and-
like more like weird shit, like
Yeah.
Xanax and like
Brain stuff.
Zoloft and all sorts of weird. Yeah, it'd be all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
Heavy
I
chemicals.
smoke
All those
weed. That's
downers.
brain stuff. Brains
Yeah.
weed's a downer.
I mean, indica is.
That's like all like chemical stuff though.
Sativa's
Weed's
still a downer.
Sativa
weed's
makes you
natural.
okay. Indica makes you like.
Sleepy.
Yeah, but if we're talking like what a drug is classified as, THC, like cannabis, I'm pretty sure is like a downer.
I don't know.
That's just not
I'm
made in
not
a
a
lab
scientist.
though. Not made in a lab to fuck with your brain chemicals.
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying what it's classified as. It's not fucking speed. It's not an upper. Like, it's not an upper. We're not calling weed an
Well, I don't know.
upper.
I guess.
All right, I can get behind that.
Yeah, it's not. I think it's actually classified as a
Legalize now.
hallucinogen,
Legalize
but
now.
I'm not totally sure.
Legalize. Anyway, back to Beau.
Okay, so
This movie sucked so bad we haven't
Back to
talked
Beau.
about it. We're still in his apartment.
No, we're
No,
not. We're at the
we're-
fucking.
yeah,
we're at the part
house.
where she kidnaps him in the van and makes him smoke weed and tells him that he's going to tell people that they fucked with her. He fucked with her if he doesn't, which is absolutely terrible. Like I feel so bad for Beau in those scenes. Like he's so preyed upon by everyone, and you just feel so bad for him. And then long story short, he wants to get the fuck out of there to go to his mom's fucking funeral, and the girl fucking asks him to drink paint with him, and he says no, so she drinks the paint first and dies. And it's absolutely disgusting. In Ari Aster fashion, like the way that she looks when she's dead is awesome. Like those red eyes and like the face, like
Yeah.
there's a
She looked
few
like
directors.
she looked like she had a gas pipe stuck to her face.
Yeah, there's a few directors where they have the violence that they have. You can like match it, and like you can see that it's all kind of the same. And he's one of them.
That death scene in Midsommar is
That's the most
Ridiculous.
gripping thing about that movie is that it opens with that. Like that's
Ridiculous.
insane. Yeah, following it up the way it follows it up the stairs. Like
Oh,
into
yeah,
the
the
room and
hose?
shit.
Oh.
Oh my god, that shit's
Oh.
crazy.
and the fact that the car was a Tesla,
And
nobody even cares about.
The last 20 minutes of Midsummer is
Thanks,
god,
Jake.
insane. Anyway,
yeah, where the bear, the fire, the dress,
all of
what?
it, everything. The final shot is
Sex scenes, yeah.
absolutely insane.
starting with like the her winning the maiden prize, like that
Yeah.
on is just like
yeah.
for
And she
those of
just
you just
smiles.
listening, I'm looking around like, what the fuck is going on?
Anyway, she kills herself by
Most
drinking
people
the paint,
listening.
and it's pretty crazy. And then Amy Ryan like freaks out and is like, "You killed her! Get out of here!" And she tells homeboy
She blamed
who's-
him.
She blamed him, and then she tells homeboy he's been trying to fuck him up the whole time to hunt him down. And so Joaquin Phoenix just runs.
Get him, Jeeves.
Get him, Jeeves. Like tear him. She says tear him apart or rip him apart. So
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix runs to the woods and then he hits his head on a branch.
Which
and he
all of
wakes
that, I
up.
mean, what that came of nothing because what he ended up coming to the party and like shooting everybody up, but like I feel like that whole thing came of like that nothing came of that of him like chasing him into the woods.
Yeah.
That
I
was just kind of
mean-
pointless.
A lot of things were kind of just like dropped and didn't go
Pointless.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
Movie
just
was
the
kinda
experience
pointless.
of it, man.
Remember when we were talking Babylon? When it's like, oh man, your last movie did really good. Let's give you a bunch of money to do whatever you want. And then it was like, oh man, that bombed. Is this kind of
Yeah, I don't know if this. is bombing. I'm not sure. I think it maybe had
Bo
like a
ain't doing
decent
good,
open, but
dude.
I don't know how well it's actually doing.
Bo ain't doing
But
good, dude.
the
I'll look it
opening
up.
night when I saw it, it was fully packed IMAX theater, but then I saw it again a week later, and I was like one of 4 or 5 people in the theater, so I don't really know.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I saw it basically the first or second day it was available here in College Station, Texas.
Mhm.
Going into it was a late show. Assuming like I am a lot of the times, I'm gonna be the only person in the theater, and it was packed. It was a packed theater.
I mean, I think Joaquin and Ari Aster both draw a crowd, just
Yeah.
based off that.
Well, that's
And
another
I don't
thing.
know how much
True. And
it'll
there's so
keep
many
that crowd, but
bros at Texas A&M, and that's such a
big film bro
This
place.
could be a not film bro, just like bro. Like if Fight Club came out, they would fill the theaters out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like bros.
Because
Like if
Joaquin's one
Tool
of the
was
few
playing,
people.
like they'd all be there.
Yeah, at least for me, like Joaquin's one of the few actors. Like when he comes out, I'm gonna go see Phoenix movie.
Yeah, not for me.
Whatever, super dumb, but I'm pretty much gonna see pretty much anything he does. Same goes with Ari Aster. So, because I am a director person, I know you hated Anthony. I'm sorry.
You know, I don't hate it. Again, I think I might be wrong, but I'm having a new thought. It's just a new thought in my brain, because always I've been like, I like this movie. I love George Lucas, but nobody loves George Lucas. Everyone just loves Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? There's like,
Yeah.
I think I'm a little just more selective in that this is what I like, and it's not because of this. It's because this was good, you know? I don't care what made
Sure. And
T2 the perfect movie ever made, but Avatar can suck my big fat unejaculated balls. You know what I'm saying? Or did I lose you again, like my last analogy?
I hear what you're saying.
I
I
feel
hear
it.
what
I
you're
feel it.
saying. But what I'm saying is this: there's a singular vision in all those movies that makes those movies either good or bad, and it's the same person. So if you do
Yes,
like T2,
but that doesn't
and you
matter.
do like that shit,
I don't
it's
think that
just
matters
because of that person.
No.
It
But
does,
I hear
though.
what you're saying, but I don't think that matters, because there's an end product every time, and that end product is either one thing or another. And
Was that good or
this-
bad?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's for me in my brain. I either like it or I don't. So call it
Sure.
good or bad. Call it whatever you want. It's one thing or another, and I didn't like this one, whereas I liked all those other ones. So I'm not gonna say, but like, I don't know. It's like Ryan Johnson, man. I'm just saying. I'm gonna stop saying, oh, I love this director, and I'm gonna start saying, I like this movie.
Yeah, I just watched The Brothers Bloom a couple days ago. I've always been curious about it. It's a Ryan Johnson movie. Kind of sucks. Have you seen it?
I've never
Oh.
seen it.
Did
Kinda
Luke
sucks.
Skywalker throw a lightsaber over his shoulder? Were there porgs?
No, there was just bad jokes and dumb situations. Just wasn't
Remember
very,
Brick?
it wasn't very good. Brick was cool.
Brick was dope. Like that was like
Yeah.
that's close to one of those movies that we watched on this podcast that I was like, oh man, I'm sad I haven't seen this movie earlier.
Hey, he does good work. Not all the time though. But Ari Aster, I think he's doing good work. Still.
I think
this
as
movie
as
just
much
didn't go
as
anywhere for me.
as much as
Ended
you
up
guys
going
hate
nowhere.
as much as you guys hate Last Jedi, it had some great moments, had some really great moments, and I don't think that it reflects him
doesn't
as a
make him-
filmmaker that he's a bad director in that movie. I just don't think you liked the way that his story went. You know what I mean? But
He
I don't
ruined
think
a franchise.
He's I
He
mean,
ruined
dude, listen.
40 years of
I'm going to
cult
throw this out there. I'm going to throw this
mentality.
out there. You know who ruined the franchise by not making the next movie is J.J. Abrams.
Kathleen
J.J.
Kennedy.
Abrams should have just been like, yo, I'm going to make all 3 of them because that's the only way it's going to work.
Speaking
that's what they
of
should've
ruining
done.
franchises, you guys watch Mandalorian?
I stopped
No.
after episode 4. I was out.
Episode 4 was what? With Jack Black?
Maybe it's episode 3 because I don't remember seeing Jack Black.
Okay, well, if you would have gotten to the Jack Black episode, you would have stopped there.
Really?
I'm gonna finish them because I love them, but I've also heard they're terrible. And this one was the worst piece of. It's just what it is, man. This is why I quit I quit Star Wars after Jedi. I quit Star Wars after Rian Johnson fucked it up. And then, like, obviously I saw them all, but I quit Star Wars. I wasn't a Star Wars fan anymore. The Mandalorian came along. I was like, all right, I'm a Star Wars fan again. But what happened? It was like when I wasn't a Star Wars, I was only a Star Wars whatever. I was a tertiary, just adjacent friend of Star Wars because it came out in 77. And then the next ones came out. I was like, I'm a fan. And then like the second one came out and I was like, I don't know about this one. And the third one came out. I was like, all right, that one was fun, but and then it's the exact same thing that happened. I was back in with Force Awakens. I was out with Jedi. I was back in with Mandalorian, and now I'm out with episode fucking Jack Black. I love Jack Black. Jack Black and Lizzo are in it. Those aren't the people.
Sounds fun.
These aren't the people you want in Mandalorian.
Come on. Just all these fucking Star Wars shows are lame to me.
There's no fat Mandalorians.
I'm sick of fat
people in space.
I'm kidding. I love Jack Black and Lizzo. I love them both. Not to say they're not both fat, but
name your top 4 Lizzo songs.
Name your top 5 fat people. Go. I'm gonna go Jack Black.
Yeah, I'll go Burt Kreischer.
Oh, nice. Oh, like this is modern day too.
He's a huge fat. Yeah, we can take
let's go Burt. Burt's fat as fuck.
All right. I'm gonna go Chris Farley.
Burt's probably 700 pounds.
Chris Farley's good. Yeah,
maybe
Burt's 700. Maybe 650 on a good day.
Chris Farley in. He's on the list
for sure.
That's 3. Schwartz. What are you laughing at? I love you, dude.
Am I in the fat boy category like that?
No.
Let's go 1990s.
Oh, Candy. If we're adding Candy, then we cannot add Schwartz because Candy's literally 400 pounds.
Yeah, I'm like 250.
I don't care what you are, dude. It's like hey, listen, I don't want to know what you make. I know you make more than me. It's fine. I mean, there's like
1990s even Suplee.
All right, let's finish this. Let's finish this though.
Yeah,
let's talk about this. All right,
so I mean, he's not one of my favorites though. Oh,
Belushi.
Oh yeah, Belushi.
And Aykroyd,
Mr. Hitchcock, Alfred. Gotta add that guy. Kubrick is kind of a fatty. President Taft.
So tell us about the forest scene. What does the forest scene mean to you, Schwartz?
Let's get to the scene that when you type in BEAU is Afraid on YouTube, everyone goes to, oh my God, the best scene was the animated scene. It had so-and-so and was directed by such and such.
It looked cool, but I was also like,
about it, dude.
Where's this going? I guess you learned that's when he couldn't come, but also he has kids, which doesn't make sense. And then he didn't have kids, and I didn't really understand the whole jump forward and back in time, other than that's some sort of fucking commentary on like anxiety.
It's like
I don't know.
If 2 people were sitting on a couch and every now and then one of them was like, "What if this happens?" I think I was like, "I don't know, that's pretty wild." He was like, "All right, but what if we were?" And instead of this, it was this. And he was like, "All right, fuck it." Which is cool. Which for your like I said, when you're like super successful and they'll give you whatever you want to make whatever you want for however long it takes. That these are the things you can do, you know, you're good. And that's awesome. And I'm happy that he got to make this movie. That's awesome. I hope now on the next one, when they cut his budget in half, he tones it down a little bit, makes it a little more friendly to the broader audience. And Anthony Islami, the person who has the pulse on the or the finger on the pulse of America when it comes to theater, action, and movie madness.
He is from Texas, the America's heartland, people.
Thank you.
One thing you gotta remember is
America.
One thing you gotta remember about movies is the way movies get big budgets is with big actors. And Joaquin Phoenix is one of the top like 4 or 5 actors in the world. So as long as Joaquin Phoenix, because I heard that he's gonna make a.
True.
I went to one of the Q&As and
he's at 25 mil, dude.
He said
he's making 25 mil for Joker.
How much? Yeah. How much did he make for this?
I don't think he made that much, but
probably like 5.
I think
how
much
did he make for the Matrix?
The Matrix.
He was not in the Matrix.
Matrix 2?
No.
Keanu Reeves, you're thinking.
Yeah, you're thinking Keanu Reeves.
Joaquin Phoenix?
No.
What are you talking about? Joey Pants.
Joey Pants, yeah, that's it. Joey Pants.
Good, different guy.
Oh, fat guy. Drew Liner. Shout out to Drew Liner. He's my number 1 fat guy.
He's the best.
Shout out to the goat. I mean the goat.
The big goat, the big cat.
Got him.
Sorry, good thing he doesn't listen to this.
What the fuck were we saying?
We're talking about BEAU is afraid. We're still in his apartment. He left his keys in the door.
I think I know what happened in the forest. This is something that South Park just did recently. Ari Aster decided to just let ChatGPT write like a scene. And then they just let it play out in the forest part, and like they just ChatGPT just like animated the whole thing.
How
and he just,
much
With the narration, I could see
let's
that.
me
let's
this,
give him
honestly.
20 minutes.
Honestly,
Boom.
answer me this: how much of this movie was written by ChatGPT?
I think 20%.
And I think this is a valid question from any script written from today on. How much of this was written by ChatGPT?
Well, this is the thing
True.
about this script, or like Hereditary make this movie first, and no one would do it. And he said the only way that he was going to get to make a movie is if he made a horror movie, because horror movies are easily accessible. Because if you make a good horror movie, tons of people are going to see it. So he made Hereditary, and then he doesn't even consider Midsommar a horror movie. He considers it like a date movie, his version of a date movie. And then this is definitely not a horror movie.
A date, DATE.
Yeah, like going out on a date. Like that's what he considers that movie. He said.
Like a black date movie.
Yeah. So
dark date
like
movie.
he considers Hereditary horror, obviously, but he only made a horror movie so someone would give him money to make a movie. And then he's gonna make like his next movie is gonna be a Western. That's what I was about to say.
This is why I wrote a Christmas mountain love story movie.
Yes.
I'll tell you.
Good idea for one.
So hold on, stop saying things. We're getting off track. We gotta finish this.
Have we talked about Harry Potter yet?
So dude, anytime you got Joaquin Phoenix in your movie, you're gonna get a big budget. That was the point of what I'm gonna say. And supposedly his next movie is also gonna star.
I heard something interesting that he said about his first two movies, because it was some podcast he was being interviewed for, because they asked him about like the cults in his first two and why it was cults in his first two. And he's like, those were the first two scripts I sold. So that was kind of it.
He's got a lot of
like
scripts.
he's like, I had like
he's got a lot
scripts or 10 scripts written. So he's just like, those were the first ones up. So it's as simple as that. Like it wasn't like he necessarily chose Hereditary first. He just kind of, that's what someone paid him to do, and he did it
because it's a horror movie.
Yeah, for sure.
You want
to
guess how much domestically BEAU grossed the first?
What's the budget again?
I think it's 35 million or 30 maybe. I think it was 35. What I heard, it was A24's most expensive film so far.
$35 million. Most expensive
35.
film, second to Midsommar, I think. No, Hereditary. No,
probably Everything Everywhere All at Once.
That's it.
I don't know.
Yep, that's the one. Yep. Because I read that stat and I just couldn't.
Was it Everything? Okay,
it was Everywhere.
I know that's been the one that's made the most money, but I wasn't sure if that was the most expensive as well.
35. I think Everything Everywhere was like 30 million. It wasn't much more, but now this is the most expensive.
Like even like
35 million for BEAU is Afraid. How much do you think it made domestic?
First weekend or so far?
First weekend.
First weekend. I want to say like well, I think was it limited? I think it was a limited release, so maybe does that play in?
It definitely came out in New York and LA a week before it came out anywhere else.
This says the expansion, which in my head means like
I'll say 13.
Everything Everywhere. 13
13
million. 13. I'm sorry, 13,000 or 13 million?
13 million.
Okay.
8 million.
All right. I'm gonna guess 2.7.
Okay. Because that was kind of 3 million was more. 3 million was more of my thought for the very first weekend for the limited one, but I figured once it was like also expanded to that second weekend, I thought it would make more.
This is the thing too.
3 worldwide.
3.
3?
Okay.
Yeah.
3
million.
$3 million.
That's it.
Worldwide.
That's not much. What's
Listen,
it made
all
so
I'm saying
far?
is this guy's budget's getting cut in half next year. You know who's not going to be in his next movie? Joaquin Phoenix, unless he takes
no,
on.
dude. This is the thing. Even though this movie didn't make money, it's still a very, very, very well-made movie that's going to get some awards attention. Like Joaquin will probably be nominated for this.
I don't think it will.
I think it will.
Awards
I think
don't matter.
I think the screenplay. Well, it does in the industry. It does in the industry.
Doesn't.
It does in the industry.
Money
dude.
matters. Well, how much did this make in China? That's what matters. And it didn't make shit.
Does matter. Streaming services is gonna buy this for like $50 million, and they're gonna make $20 million or $15 million off of it, and that's gonna be it. That's exactly what's gonna happen. Amazon or Netflix or HBO
So
is
they're
gonna be like,
gonna,
yo, here's 15
they're gonna
million
make
bucks.
half of what it cost to make this movie.
No, they're gonna make 20 million more than it costs to make this movie. If they get 50 million, it costs 35. They get 15
Oh, you
million
said
on top
50.
of it.
I thought you said 15.
Yeah, 50 million. You know what I mean? Like they'll give them that just to cover their ass and make money. It's because people are going to watch this because
that's gonna happen, dude. Not for this one.
All right.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't think that's gonna happen.
Whatever happens, I don't think Ari Aster is going to stop making movies.
It's
I think
hard to
gonna
say
take-
No one
with
said
this
he's
one.
gonna stop making
it's gonna
movies.
take-
I'm just saying
No, he's not-
A24 is gonna
not-
give
not
him
dumb.
15 million next movie and not 35.
Maybe, yeah.
Which is
Maybe.
fine. That's fine. Same with fucking Chazelle, dude. Chazelle blew his load, and everyone was like, I don't know, and they're like, all right, give me half. The
He got
price.
he got 80, I think, for Babylon. So
Give
yeah,
him half.
give him fucking 20. I'm sure
Give
he'll
him
still make a
half,
dope
dude.
movie.
Just to give him 20 million,
Yeah,
Chazelle
still
can
make a
make a
good
movie,
movie,
dude.
yeah.
It's gonna be like Zach Gakaduba, Zaka Bamboo. Whoa.
It might be
simple.
better for us too, because it might only be fucking 2 hours. So everybody wins.
Yeah, maybe, dude.
Yeah,
Give me
maybe.
another La La Land. Make a La La Land too. What does
Yeah,
that look
one-
like?
Yeah, I love that.
They're
Okay.
married. They're having a kid. First one's
No,
an
they
abortion.
already
Second
did
one's
the
a
other stuff.
stillborn.
They already answered all those questions in the first La La Land. Just gotta watch the last scene again. Anyway,
We should write a rom-com about Siamese twins when only one of them has a boyfriend.
Only one of them survives.
Only one of them has a boyfriend.
So there's just a dead twin hanging off her for her whole
No,
life.
she's
At
not
least
dead,
like
but
throughout high school, she dies.
she's
in middle
single.
School.
You know what I mean? Like she's single.
That's might as well be dead.
She's just single.
Am I right? We all have girlfriends now. Look at us.
Yeah, you're married.
Shout out to the ladies.
One for the women. Where's
Hey,
the
that's 3 that for sure listen. I mean, 1 anyway.
South Park
Jillian
episode? One
listens.
for the ladies.
One for the ladies. The rest for the boys.
Shout out to Jillian for listening.
Shout out to Jillian. Shout out to Antoinette, and shout out to Don't Tell Me. Fuck. She's gonna hate me.
I don't think
now,
she doesn't even.
now
I'm
when
sure she doesn't
now
listen.
when we meet, she's gonna be like, "You didn't even fucking
Fine.
know my name." It starts with a J.
Jonna, but
Yeah,
yeah.
Jonna. I
But
know
she
it's,
doesn't-
Jamba Juice.
it's
I don't think
slightly
she-
peculiar.
I'm almost sure she doesn't listen. So it's
All right,
it's
well,
okay.
Shout out to you, dude. I hope you listen while you're doing your workouts because that's when I would listen.
All right, so let's get to it. Jake, what does this mean to you in the woods? You were gonna say what you thought it meant, so I'm interested to hear that.
No, that was the Chat GPT joke. That is what I made.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah,
not
that
what
was
I
not
truly
funny
believed.
joke. So
I thought it was
definitely
good.
took a detour.
let's
That
keep going.
Chat
So
GPT joke just gave us a tangent about 15 minutes long until just
yeah,
now.
no, it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
I almost regret it now, but it's fine.
No, you know why it was good? You know why it was good? Because the narration made it good. Because you guys listen to it, it's like some Chat GPT say you put all these big
Right,
words in like
exactly.
just a story form. Like that's pretty
Mhm.
funny.
It's like
so-
what a robot would think like a love story or good story is. Yeah.
So he has like a dream of where like
It's just
in
nonsense.
animation of where his life's gonna go, and like he sees his kids and he finds out his wife's dead and sees like fairies with no
who's
faces and shit.
narrating that? Do we know? Sounds like
A robot. It's
The
all
robot, dude,
nonsense
who
at this
cares?
point.
no.
And
Okay.
then
Thought it was like
and
fucking-
then he wakes up out of
John
it and
Voight.
he meets his dad. He meets his dad or something. And his dad's like, "Yo, what up? I'm your dad." And
That was
then-
questionably his dad. It was a guy that was implying that he may have
Is his
been his
dad.
dad. But
yeah. So we're calling him his dad.
who else? He was the only one to ever suggest it. So
I think he's the only one who actually saw him because I don't think he was really there.
yeah, he might not have been there. Because he was
Wait,
like even
sees his
he was
dad?
even
I
in
thought
the
he
yard
meets
of
his
like
sons.
he meets
He
his
does.
sons, then he
In
sees
the-
his dad.
Then he sees his dad, and then the guy comes with the gun and shoots everybody.
Yeah, and then it doesn't make any. fucking
Just
sense
reminds
at
me
this
of
point. I mean, it
Waterboy.
never
Yeah.
does, but
It's
this part was
me,
just so
your
this
daddy.
part was super
Good boy, though.
strange. This is around the time where the movie starts losing steam for me because I like the visual of that whole sequence, but it just I don't know where it went. It was just like, and then there was also like the reveal of his flashbacks of like him finding out that he can't come. So that's kind of like cut with that whole ending sequence with meeting his sons, which doesn't make sense because he doesn't have sons.
There's a few
Did-
scenes that you see at the
Did
same
they
time too,
tell
where
him
like
that
he's in
you
a
can't come?
where like
Yeah,
he's in
his
the
mom
bath-
was telling him that how his dad died and his father before him and all that, and how it'll happen to him too.
Mm.
So
There's
he
the
never
bathtub
came.
scenes too, where you sees every now and then of like watching his
yeah.
mom try to get him going to the bathtub, and then she makes him go up into the attic, and then you come to realize that's what she would do. That's how she would punish him. She would just make him go in the attic for extended
And
period of
who's
time.
in the attic? Was that his brother or
His
something?
That's him, I think.
dad,
I think that was
AKA
him.
Balls.
I think that was
What was
him.
that?
It looked like him, shriveled and old.
He's just tripping the whole fucking time.
And then the dick thing was hilarious. That made me laugh so hard because I knew it was coming because I read the script. I was like, oh man, I can't wait to see what they did with this, and it looked just like I thought it would.
like
was
it looks
cool.
funny, but
It's
I
funny.
feel like at that point I'm like,
I was over it.
what the fuck? What's going on at this point?
I was looking at my watch by then.
I kind of was too. I think it starts dipping there, and then I think the Parker Posey stuff kind of pulls you back in a little bit.
Pulls back
but-
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but
I
once
was
the
like,
mom
oh,
gets
PP's
there,
here, dude. Let's check this out.
I feel like once the mom got there, it was all bad for me. Like I didn't like the whole reveal of like, oh, she faked her own death. That
Also
makes
in his
total
head.
sense, I guess, in his head. But it was still just, I don't know.
Who cares where it is?
Was Parker Posey even there?
It's
I
just
don't know.
us watching what's on the screen. Doesn't matter what's like implied.
And just and the mom's like rants were
saying
just
is-
kind of
is-
like I was just over it by then. I'm just like I've been watching these movies for so long, and this woman is just like ranting and guilting this poor guy. I think maybe the reveal of the therapist was kind of funny because the dude like just had this like sinister grin, and that was like another funny
Ari Aster
chuckle
thing.
moment. But
It was. He was always a
the
little
rest of it was just
sus,
like, whatever.
even from the get go.
Dude,
He
the
was always a
fucking
little
picture.
sus.
This is this picture scene too, where they point to her mother, and it's the funniest fucking picture you've ever seen. Like,
yeah,
it's just
I was
like
even at that point like
the
okay,
epitome of this old
is the
witch
picture?
woman. It's like
Can't even
hilarious.
think of what the picture is.
On the wall.
You're talking about like the best
just
part
looked like
of
a
the screen. I don't
scary
even remember what it was.
cartoony face. It wasn't the best part by
It
any
was
means.
fun.
Nah, it was at that. Like I said, at that point, I'm kind of over it. So he kind of basically what kills her or chokes. No, it doesn't kill her, but it's her. And then she like falls into some glass. He runs out and then runs into a boat and gets into a boat. And then that
Eve
fucking
Stadium.
Thunderdomes sort of stadium
Yeah.
where his boat is just like catching on fire as they're guilting him to death.
Yeah, he's on like trial in a giant moat of water in a stadium full of people. Like it's
He
like a
also
theater.
like
and they're
sees
just
all
judging
the
him.
artwork of his mom and like him and how she's been basically like a history of how she's been manipulating him the whole
Right,
his
yeah.
whole life. Like I feel like oh, it's kind of important.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Right, yeah, I referenced that earlier. Yeah, for sure. That was all laid out like at her funeral.
Right.
And just that kind of more implies that
Well,
whole like
I don't
his-
think it was at her.
his-
Was it at her funeral or was that just like in her basement?
Oh, maybe it was
her
just like
house?
in the house, like on
'Cause
display.
He was just wandering around. Dope house,
all-
by the way.
all of like
I was
the
gonna say-
ads of like him with
That
different
like center
pharmaceutical
spiral
drugs.
case with those
Yeah.
inset lights, and then the artwork kind of hung on like those super
Mhm.
long. I don't know that whole house. Was
The openness of the middle is amazing too. You can like
Yeah.
see everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cinematography in this movie is absolutely insane. Like, I think it
100%,
was really, 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 really good.
Really, really, really good. Really good.
That's about it.
That's about it.
Well,
He gets judged, and then his
Yeah.
boat capsizes, and you hear him struggle for about 20, 25 seconds.
so what
under
happens in the
boat.
end? Does he die? Does he wake up? Is that when he takes
I think
his
he's dead.
pills and he fucking
dies?
comes back to life, or is normal
Like,
again?
Yeah. It's just one of those you got to just to be like, oh, it doesn't have an ending. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
You're just not. That's just kind of like a whack. Like I appreciate movies that have that ambiguous ending sometimes, but this was just kind of like, what the fuck was that? Like it wasn't.
How
Didn't
do you
really
end
make me
this
wonder
movie?
what really. Yeah. How do you? I don't know.
That's probably what Ari
Didn't
Aster
really
was
way.
saying. He's like, I
Yeah.
like, there's no way to end this movie, right? It's just like has to end.
Visually, the ending was funny because it was like almost like a mirror of the theater because it was the auditorium was like slowly
Clearing
people were
out.
like slowly leaving and like muttering and talking to each
Yeah.
other as they were like walking
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
and that was happening as like. So
And then
thought
I
that
don't know
was
if
kind
you
of a
noticed, but
clever
in the beginning,
thing.
it was like forecasted that his boat was going to capsize with the kid and his mom, and he was playing with the remote control boat.
Yeah. And even we didn't talk about the screen thing where he was like fast forwarding and rewinding,
Oh,
or
yeah.
they run past the TV and it's already on the auditorium and the boat it flipped over in the water. So it almost like
Oh,
it
what?
was a
I
Well,
thing,
don't-
it's he
but it was
sees
just a one.
he
It was
sees it
just
on the
one.
TV at Nathan Lane's house because the mom tells him to watch channel 78. And he turns on
Oh,
channel 78 and it shows
yeah.
him there.
Right.
And he fast forwards and it shows like basically the rest of the movie real quick. And he pauses it when it gets to the boat part. And then the shit goes down with the girl in the paint right there. It just stays there.
Yeah, then I think it just like plays out or
Yeah.
something, and then it's
Yeah.
like it like shows it on like the screen, just like as you walk past it, you see the auditorium and you see the boat like flipped over in the screen.
Yeah.
So just like another little like imagery of him showing the end of the movie before it actually ends. Just kind of a clever thing to do.
And then it ends.
And then it ended.
What was your
abruptly,
favorite scene? We
flipping
talked
over.
about a bunch of favorite scenes, but what was the best scene? What was your favorite?
I think the first 40 minutes is just great. Up until like basically he gets hit by the car. Everything before that is absolutely great.
What was the wildest scene?
I
Because
mean,
that's when I'm thinking favorite. I'm not even thinking favorite. The wildest scene is what I'm thinking of.
I think the wildest scene is the paint drinking scene.
Yep.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking too.
Or even
But
Parker
I
Posey.
was yeah, Parker Posey is a pretty
Because
wild.
the
When she
Mariah
dies.
Carey song is pretty great.
That was funny.
Yeah.
I was
She
I was
dies.
mostly into it in that beginning chunk, that beginning like 40
Oh.
minutes at the apartment.
I
think
thought
we
when
all,
she died, it blew my mind. When he blew his load, but no, the paint scene when she fucking
with that. Yeah.
drink when she dies. Essentially,
Yeah.
like after everything goes down and she dies, after all the shit she says, she sprays the paint, she whatever, she dies, and you're just like, I feel that was the one time I was like, I feel like Bo feels right now. This is,
Yeah.
I know
Like this
exactly.
hopelessness.
There's no way, like I
Yeah.
feel exactly what he's feeling. He feels exactly what I'm feeling right now. It's like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, and the Amy Ryan just like she was really good in that because
Oh, she's
like
great.
she just lost is like losing another child and she was fuck the way she reacted was super intense. That was a wild scene.
Nathan Lane said that he had seen Hereditary and Midsommar, and that he thought like when he met Ari Aster, he was going to be some like really weird, morbid, fucked up guy. And he's like, he's just like this sweet little Jewish guy, and he's easy to fuck with. And like, I guess also on this movie, one thing I want to talk about was like the way Joaquin Phoenix works. Ari Aster was talking about how like he really planned out the shot list and like storyboarding and shit, but also knew that like Joaquin's kind of actor that like you don't really tell blocking to. You kind of just like get in there and see what happens, and then maybe like go from there. And he was saying how like he just adapted to Joaquin a lot, which is really cool. And the I guess the kind of one day they were on set and I guess things weren't going that well, and Joaquin walked over to him and he was like, "Are you just like one of these guys who's really excited to have like Joaquin Phoenix in your movie? Is that what you are? Like you're just really excited to have this like Joaquin Phoenix in your movie?" And Ari Aster, like the best is his response. He goes, "Yes." He's like, "Yes, I really am excited, but like we got to figure this out." Like it's pretty funny.
Well, that's
Did you
beside the
listen
point.
to that A24 podcast, I assume?
Yes, that's what it was.
That's beside the
Yeah.
point.
They definitely made it sound like a big collaborative effort, and every time either one of them talk about them individually, like it definitely seemed like a very much a collaboration of the two.
And he always talks about how like you don't really give Joaquin that kind of direction. It's like when they got in there, like to just see what he did, and like he would take his ideas and then mold them to what Joaquin was doing. So he was always prepared. And he said like this is the first movie that he felt like he was good enough to do that too. And he said like that's the way he's going to work from then on out, is like having a bunch of preparation, but then like on the day just being like, all right, what the fuck, like just open to absolutely anything. And if you're have an actor like that like shows you ways of going, like it's really
certainly,
great.
because the way this movie
It's pretty
played
cool.
out, it was definitely he had to have a vision going in because there's so much going on and so much to this. He had to have that vision, but to be able to work with it on the fly at the same time is pretty impressive.
Howard Stern once that's Jonah Hill, who the best director he ever worked with was, and he obviously said Scorsese. And what he said, why? And he said, because he's such a problem solver. Like that's what directing is. It's like having a plan and then having to adapt to whatever it is, because you need to still get what you need to get in the same amount of time that you had before. But like you can't do exactly what you planned, so you have to figure out a way to do it just as good, or at least tell the exact story you were trying to tell with the plan you had. And if you're able to do that quickly and you're able to do that with limited things, that makes you really good. And he said that's the reason why I figured he was the best.
Oh,
Anyway,
you
thought
like
that was
Jonah
interesting.
Hill now, huh?
No, I don't like him, but he said that. I always remember that.
I'm a Jonah Hill fan. I'm pro
mean,
Hill.
I like Jonah Hill, but his
Oh,
last few
Jonah.
things have been kind of weird.
I think Jonah Hill's a fucking idiot.
Anyway, yeah, I thought this movie was
Yeah.
great. I think this is a great movie. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again after watching it twice, or like ever watch it all the way through again. But I will definitely be watching the first like 45 minutes of this movie. Probably when it comes out on whatever streaming service it does, I'll watch up until he gets hit by the car. Probably for sure.
Done.
Yeah, I feel like
Easy.
the first half is fair. I feel like the first
Yeah.
two parts, like the apartment and the suburb stuff with Nathan Lane and Amy Ryan,
I
like,
can watch that too.
those
yeah.
two chunks
Those
were
could
the
be
best parts for
two
sure.
separate episodes of something crazy.
Yeah,
Those
I was
could be
thinking
two Barry
this
episodes.
this movie could have
Barry's
been like a
ridiculously good.
mini series in itself. Like each like departure, each time he moved, essentially every time Joaquin Phoenix got hurt, it like
Yeah.
cut to black for a moment, and then he like ended up being somewhere different. I
Yeah.
feel like this could have been episodic in that way. So I thought that was
You
kind
guys,
of
all
fun.
caught
in
up,
that
you guys
sense,
all
but-
caught up on Barry?
Yeah. Barry's
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
Bill Hader is just as good of a director as Ari Aster is in his own way.
Yeah, me too. So am I.
That'd be cool if he makes a movie after this.
BH
Barry stuff
making
is
an
over.
Emmy
Supposedly he
thing?
has a horror movie that he wants to make.
What,
rad.
I can see him making a fucking Evil Dead.
I don't know. We'll see.
See that too. Saw the new Evil Dead. Did you guys see that?
I
I haven't
did. I
seen
loved it.
I liked
Yeah,
it. That's
I'm
really
sure
fun.
I'm gonna like. I
Really
like
cool.
the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys rate this out of 10?
Rankings.
I'm gonna go with like a 6.5.
Ooh, okay. I love that.
I'm
gonna
like
go-
a 6,
You want to revise? Revise, Jake. Go ahead.
6.3, 6.3, 6.3,
6.3.
6.3.
All right.
Okay. I'm gonna go 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah. I'm gonna go 7.5 for sheer audacity and originality.
Audacity is not a ranking factor on my list.
I like when people are audacious and try something new.
Sure, same.
I
Originality
respect a lot of it.
Is
but-
certainly factored in.
But the enjoyment's an important part to me.
Enjoyment.
Story is an important
made
part to me.
this movie hit this movie hard.
Yeah.
On my list.
Didn't enjoy it. The story wasn't great for me. I liked a lot of elements of it, but certain parts I did not like. So
You know who loves this movie? The single greatest filmmaker of all time, Martin Scorsese.
well, that's
Yeah.
He's sucking on Ari Aster's dick right now. It's pretty great.
Yeah,
If I was
so-
Ari Aster, I'd be pretty excited. I'd be like, "Oh my god, it's
I
awesome."
watched like half a interview. Did you see the interview of them with the right after? I didn't watch it
Yeah.
because the audio was too bad for me to
Yeah.
enjoy
I
it.
know. I
so-
stopped because of the audio as well.
But yeah, he was just like, "Oh, you're the best ever." I was like, "Shut up, dude! You're about to die. You can't make it."
Sorry, Anthony, do you have a score?
Yeah,
Did you have- did you-
6-0. 6-0.
I think so. That's a
The flat
good
six
range
for
there.
me.
Good
It's
range.
fine. Can't knock it. I can't make it a 4. Can't make it a 5. You know, it's a good movie. Ari Aster's quality.
None of us gave it a bad.
But boy, did I not enjoy
But it's
it.
hard to. It's hard. I wouldn't recommend this probably to anybody
No, it's like
unless you
Children
like
of- Children
really
of
like
God.
fucked up movies, and it was like a specific someone I was talking to about fucked up movies. Like, oh, would you see BEAU is Afraid? Maybe that, but I would like parents.
I'd go
no.
Old Boy first.
I don't want to care about. No, I maybe would too.
Old Boy is just one of those. Old Boy I'd watch before this for sure.
One of the best movies we did on this podcast was The Handmaid. That was a